Hello, hello. Oh, you have the cup, and this time I don't have it. Oh my gosh, it's either one of us. Either I remember the mug and you don't, and vice versa. So today I didn't remember it, but that's okay. So we are here today, and we're going to talk. We're going to do two different debate things. That's what you decided, right? Okay, because everybody is still reeling from last night. Everybody, the entire world was watching Donald Trump and President Biden go head to head for the very first time. And so you said, you know what, let's deconstruct that a little bit before we go into our regularly scheduled program. So, of course, we had a live debate reaction show on Cosmos last night, and we had like 9 or 10 pundits. And we had hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of live viewers all over the world. It was intense. A lot of people were getting their news directly from us on screen. It's a big responsibility, kind of, because we played it live. And your friends Alan and Manny were there as well and got to weigh in a lot, and they had a lot to say. And I was reading the comments as they were coming in, and everybody across the world is just commenting. People were getting triggered. People were tuning out. People were saying, that's it. They're not going to vote at all. They are done. And everybody was kind of rooting for their person, even though it seemed like nobody was ecstatically excited about either one, at least not on our show. So how do you feel like when you got up today, Dennis? Did you feel depressed? Did you feel tense? Did you feel elated? What was on your mind after the debate? I feel like we have a debate hangover today.
I do. I do. And it's, I'm trying to imagine an 82-year-old man, Biden, to have that much pressure. Yes, he is a politician. He's also he runs the entire government for 4 years. I mean, he actually runs it. That's not something that I saw Donald Trump do during the 4 years that he was there. He outsourced the work. I mean, you would see his daily activities, and they would say, "Well, there's nothing on the president's calendar."
So, would he know what to do if he had said president as a verb?
I don't think he does. But anyway, but to have that much pressure as a performer, you and I both know as a performer, to have that much pressure and then have in the entire week leading up to it, and then to come up against Donald Trump, who was only going to spew, who was never going to be on track. It wasn't exactly a debate. It was him spewing one false allegation after another, and him shit talking the United States. Absolutely, just, I mean, it was just, I don't see how there was possible that it possibly could have happened if they had prepared Biden to be able to say, look, just come in there and say 4 things. Just work on immigration, the Infrastructure Act, what you've done for the border and security and abortion. So leave it to those 4 things and just keep coming back. Doesn't matter what the questions are, doesn't matter what they say, keep coming back to those 4 principles, and then ignore everything else other than to say to Donald Trump, you're lying. That's all you do. And over the course of the 187 minutes when you sat in the dining room and did nothing when Congress was being attacked, you did nothing. So that should tell you enough about what you're going to do in any kind of a crisis. So just leave it at that, if that would have been, but it didn't happen that way. And so now I feel that it's a good reset. and we're going to see where we go from here. Did you happen to see Gavin Newsom afterward?
No, I did not.
Okay. He he came up and he said, basically, we've got to just have his back. Just sit down
Mhm.
and say, okay, everybody has a rough debate. Everybody does at any time. Now we need to just have his back and to be able to go on from there, because what the alternative is literally unthinkable.
What did you think of the moderators?
I felt like that the moderators could have been an AI.
Right, they were very hi, Dennis. There's two Dennises. Hi, Dennis.
Two dentists, no waiting.
Yes.
Yes,
Yeah, and Dennis was
and
watching
there is there. I would prefer that there were different choices, but I don't have that option. I don't have we do not have that option, and I don't see there being a brokered convention. I don't see him unless something else changes. I see that we're going to have to do what Donald Rumsfeld said. You go to this election with the candidates that you have.
Mhm.
And this is it. This is our opportunity, and this is our opportunity to choose to be, because I like to think of it this way, Renee. Who hires well? And if you look over the 4 years and the people that Biden has hired, as opposed to the people that Donald Trump hired over his car, and let's weigh them that way, because they're the people that are doing the work. And certainly Biden has I believe that he still has the intellect to make the kinds of decisions to be able to do in a complicated world. I mean, look at Gaza. And is there a solution there? Is there an easy solution to be able to say, oh, yes, well, here's what we should do? Is there?
I'm gonna plead the fifth right now on that one.
That you believe that there is an easy solution, that there is a solution that
An
is right in
easy
front?
so an easy solution, I mean, I don't think there's any easy political solution to anything, honestly. I mean, not even not what I don't know what easy means, but there's so much money for everything. So I'm not talking about Gaza now, but I'm talking about for anything that a government is going to act upon. There are going to be millions, hundreds of millions of taxpayers. There's going to be trillions of dollars behind anything. So easy solution, no, but are there right solutions for anything? Absolutely,
Exactly.
yes. I mean, obviously there are ethical ways forward for everything. You have to always figure that out. And lawyers
Always.
deal with conflicts of laws. So in law, one of the most complicated things that we examine is conflict of laws. In American law and all laws that all legal structures I'm familiar with, there's every time you obey one law, you're probably aggravating another law or stretching another law or breaking another law. But conflict of
Exactly.
laws is about the ethics and the legal ramifications of following this path versus that path or whatever. Because remember, in American law, it all comes down to discretion. But I have digressed at this point. But obviously, most people who are committing laws are not ever held accountable. We don't have the taxpayer finances for that. But no, there's no easy solution for these things. Do I think that Donald Trump is going to suddenly reverse course on his entire life and wake up in office next year, God forbid, as president, and then suddenly start making correct decisions? No. I mean, a leopard does not change his spots, or at least this one surely has not. He brought the exact same energy of Donald Trump that we are familiar with for our entire lives at this point. I mean, all of America is familiar with Donald Trump. We know who he is. I have never seen an American in my lifetime, an American politician at his level, certainly the presidency, who was so open and unapologetic for what he stands for. He tells you right out of the gate exactly who he is and exactly what he cares about. And it's never anything that I would consider to be ethical or American or what this country stands for.
I agree.
But
Why
certainly
I'm
there
not.
are solutions. Certainly there are solutions, and there are many people who have devoted their lives to peace building and democracy and good economic progress, politics in a healthy way. And Donald Trump is just not one of them. You can say that Biden is because he has devoted his life to law and politics. I don't
Right.
know him outside of that realm. I don't think any of us really know him outside of that realm. Whether you agree with all of his decisions or not, he is a politician and he is educated on these matters, and he probably has affected these matters in the past.
Yes. I mean, I see it as a. I certainly do not agree with everything at,
Right.
at all. With anything, with everything, and everyone does. I am in no way. However, I feel that within the certain parameters of guidelines, within certain, I know, I believe that Joe Biden is going to try to do what is in the best interest of our country. I believe Donald Trump is going to do everything he can that is in the best interest of Donald Trump.
Of course. And I think he's
So
very
those are
clear
our
about
so
that.
that those are our now whether or not we agree with what Joe Biden says thinks that is in the best interest of the country or not, we certainly can have that disagreement. There has never been, I have not seen a single decision that Donald Trump has made that has not been for himself. I have not seen anything that goes against what would go that would be for the good of the country, but goes against what it is. For example, taking out of coming out of Afghanistan, there was no win for as poor as so much it was executed. It was something that had to be done, and there was a detriment to Joe Biden doing it. Now I can criticize him for. I mean, have you heard of what's going on in Guantanamo? We are housing people there for no reason.
Hmm.
No, no reason that we have, but we're doing it. And that's something he hasn't invested in, that hasn't been part of and it's something that Joe Biden can be reasonably criticized for. He can also be reasonably criticized in my way for how he has dealt with the Israeli Gazan situation and how. But what would be the solution there? And I think one of the solutions for me, anyway, segues into the next part of our program.
Okay, before you get there, can I ask you two more questions for you to weigh in?
3 more, 5 more, anything.
What did you make of the golf debate and Stormy being brought up as anything at all relevant? I mean, people are dying, the world has major issues. We all have major issues, and I literally was watching a debate about golf handicaps and whether or not someone had had sex with a porn star, which is what they called her. So I'm not sure how any of that matters to
Have
anyone
you
in
ever, and
Ukraine or
again,
Gaza or America.
I'm going to, I know I am a, I know that I am a Biden apologist here. So please understand that. Everybody know that I am a Biden apologist here. I think he got rattled.
Okay.
I think it was a complete rattled moment that he got off script. I think and I've done this. As we've talked at other times. I mean, I've been on a stage. I've been on a stage and I have gone a few minutes into my presentation or a few minutes and going, "Oh dear God, this is going over horribly. What am I doing?" And I began hearing this voice going on in my head, and I could just hear him. I could be inside of Joe's head going, oh my God. Oh my God, this is terrible. My voice isn't clear. I can't clear my throat. I'm not feeling well. I'm not coming across. I can just hear the voice coming as he's trying to be cogent. I can just imagine what must have been going on inside that man's head.
Why did he not address his laryngitis? Why did he not just say, you know,
Exactly. I got a cold. Right now, so my voice may be. And I think that would have been one of the best things that he could have done. Whenever I'm, one of the things is to just recognize when you're on stage when something happens. If something falls over, say, "Oh." Ryan Williams used to do that so beautifully. He would be sitting there talking, and you'd hear a boom, and he'd go, "That was a light that just fell over."
mhm.
Just to let you know.
Steve
I mean,
Allen
I
used
can
to do
bring
that
the
too.
audience in
Steve Allen
on it,
used to
and
do that really well
I love that. I think you're absolutely right. I think that had he brought the audience in and say, "My voice, I've got some laryngitis here, and
too.
I'm talking about a cold. So if you're having a hard time hearing me, that's what's going on." Instead
I'm
of,
having laryngitis because all day and all night, all I'm doing is talking to voters and advocating for this great country of ours to make sure that we don't let this man take over and devolve. There's a way to do that, right?
exactly, and that I think is the Monday morning quarterbacking. My The thing that worries me or that concerns me is that the lead up in the last 5 to 7 days has been nothing but about the debate, how important this is.
Mhm.
And that kind of pressure on a human being,
Mhm.
there was no pressure on Donald Trump because he merely has to say the very next thing that comes out of into his head. America is this
Yeah, I mean,
horrible, terrible country. Everything that Joe Biden has done has been the worst thing that has ever happened. Everything that I've done was the best thing that ever happened. And any of the problems that would have been that would be completely dealt with on the first day I get elected. So as long as you can say that, then he's just going to say everything that just falls into that bucket. There doesn't need to be any preparation. Me, good. Him, bad. We're done.
mhm.
And so there's no preparation. You can't intellectually defeat that, or you can't intellectually. It just doesn't work. As you saw, he tried to treat it as if he prepared as if it was going to be a debate. He brought his debate skills to something that was never going to be a debate.
Right. Do
And
you think that anything was solved? Do you think that any voters changed their mind as a
nothing.
result?
No, I think it muddied the waters.
Right.
Uh, I think it made it harder. I think it made whatever lift there's going to be to get through to the election, it just made it a higher lift. Who knows if that's a good thing? I don't I would not want to be in the lead here. So I find that him being behind is a more comforting place than to be ahead.
Like the Kentucky Derby winner.
Exactly. Have it.
Why do
That's
you
right. Have him come in at the rail and come through. So have those expectations in that way.
why do you think psychologically the moderators did not moderate and did not fact check the way that they ought to have?
I don't. I think that was their decision, and they just decided to do that, and that there was no. I mean, Dana Bash did try to come back to him and say, but you didn't answer this question.
Mhm.
But there was nothing there. But I don't know that I think the problem with fact checking Donald Trump
Mhm.
is that that's all you would do. When,
Right,
when
like
when you when you have a fire hose of lies,
mhm.
a fire hose of actual define, then you're not dealing with reality here. You're not able to have a when two people see the facts at such a different rate, there's
One of
no
the things that always bothers me in international law and human rights law is how when somebody murders one person, they often will go to jail. But when someone orchestrates a genocide, it's very hard. So we even see that in American law with serial killers. Serial killers rarely get the death penalty, and they're not even always found. It's almost as if, now when you're talking about Trump, he's lying so much. It's like nailing water to the wall, and you're doing whack-a-mole. And so it's very successful on his end. I mean,
very
he was the president of the United States for 4 years because it's almost like buckshot. There's just too many fragments going on here. And I hate that because it's like the people who are doing the most wrong are often the most successful in that realm. Now, things catch up to them, they catch up to all of us. It's not like I would like to have Donald Trump's life right now. But for his aim and for what he wants, there's a lot of people that will think, well, no one would lie that much. He must be telling the truth. And obviously, almost half of America or half of America sometimes thinks that. And
do
it's sad.
you one of the things that I'm concerned with is, does character matter?
Mhm. You're saying character. I think personality doesn't matter. I remember when George W. Bush, people would say, well, I don't really agree with him, but I'd like to have a beer with him, so I voted for him.
Yeah, but he was pitching something called compassionate conservatism.
Right, but people who didn't even understand, there, you got to understand the average voter. So most people, they go to work all day, they're working hard, they got kids, they got elderly parents they're taking care of. Their attention is deeply fractured. They do not
Absolutely.
have hours and hours to spend on Google fact checking or
Nope.
Snopes.com. They don't get to watch, they really are just coming in. If they get a chance to see 30 seconds of Jimmy Kimmel or something, that might be their news, or in their Facebook feed, they might. Most people are not deeply intentional about their vote. They see President Clinton blowing the saxophone and they think he's a cool guy. They see George W. say something funny. They say, this is a guy I want to have a beer with. They see Donald Trump making funny faces and they think, oh, this guy's fun. And then they vote that way. And most people tend to vote for who they've heard of. So Donald Trump has been famous now for decades. Most people, I
And
don't
he
think, are
gets
really
and
going
he gets a
down.
lot more earned media.
Hmm. Right. And you know,
I
and
I I mean, that's just part of he just gets it, whether it's positive or negative, it doesn't matter. I love it that people are having their own conversations and
no, they're not. They're not having their own conversation. They're not
nothing to
having
do
their
with
own.
our show.
No,
Nothing to do
it
with
does
this,
have to
but
do with
it's
our
like they're
show.
having their own conversations, and they're enjoying and having that. It's hilarious.
No,
It's
no, come back this way. It's just because it's Clayton's birthday tomorrow, and Clayton's a very, very
oh, I
special
mean, no,
member
a
of our
happy birthday.
community,
I didn't mean
and
that
we
it
love Clayton.
wasn't.
So
It's just
happy
a
birthday, Clayton! Thank you.
happy
Yeah,
birthday, Clayton.
yeah, for tomorrow. That's fantastic. Yeah. So I guess what we're getting down to is, look, at the end of the day, there are two viable options. And I think most people know how they're going to vote. And I think what I keep hearing is that most people are not really ecstatic about who they are going to vote for.
Oh no, I don't think there is any ecstatic at all.
Right.
You know,
And
I don't think it is, but it is a question of where we have, because there is, just like when Donald Trump came into when Donald Trump came into office, he came in with a list from the Heritage Foundation.
mhm.
Uh, uh, I don't know. Wait a minute, it might not have been the Heritage Foundation, but of judges.
Yeah.
All right, so he had a list of judges that he was just going to put on,
Mm-hmm.
He also came in, when he came in with some mainstream Republican conservatives such as Rex Tillerson,
Mm-hmm.
and that were part of this process of the of having something in the government. When he comes in 2025, if he gets elected, and when he
Mm-hmm.
comes in 2025, he's got a playbook, which is Project 2025. He has people in place that are being vetted, and they're being vetted for one key: loyalty.
Mm-hmm.
There are people are that you apply, and then people will look at all your Facebook feeds, or look at all your social media,
Mm-hmm.
and
Yeah.
make sure that you have this test of loyalty. So that's what we need to let people know in the is that what you want? Are we looking for competence? Even though you might not agree with all the degree, are you looking for competence? So the basic blocking and tackling of running a $5 trillion a year organization?
Mm-hmm.
Or are you looking for something because he's looking about is the Schedule F, I believe, this is taking away all the civil service backing,
Mm-hmm.
so that the president can actually fire them and install people. These are
Mm-hmm.
the experts within the government. Remove that civil service protection. Is that what you're looking for? Are you looking for people who are just loyal to Donald Trump? Their that's their actual credentials.
Well, that's what, North Korea or, Hitler was really interested in that. Stalin was really interested in that. There are strong men that are very interested in personal loyalty to themselves and have paranoia that their deeds are going to get them in trouble. But of
Is that
course,
but is that
no,
what
because what we want is loyalty to America. We want someone who's loyal to the citizens and the
and
actual
has a
country.
degree of competence, of
Hmm.
demonstrated measured competence? When I get on an airplane, I don't want the pilot's
Hmm.
credentials that they are beholding to the CEO. I want
Hmm.
the pilot's credentials having the FAA, that they've done all that they actually have some competency, and to fly the government, to be able to do the blocking and tackling that there is within the government. The administration, the administrative state, as
Hmm.
complicated, as wasteful as it is, I want to have someone who knows what they're doing, who has some idea of how to run these Department of Health and Human Services,
That
DHS, the CIA. I want the people that are in there to have the justice. I want justice to run independent from the executive. That's important to me. Those are important things. Is that important to the average voter?
there is an audio call out of LAX that anyone can listen to. There was a pilot on the runway with a full plane that had been sitting there, and he had to fly to Honolulu across the ocean. And everybody, these were families that wanted to go on vacation. And he was told by the company and by air traffic control that it's time to go. And he announced, and you can listen to this, he announced to all of the hungry, thirsty, tired, hot people waiting on this plane on the tarmac for long hours. He said, "Guys, I've been told that the plane will be serviced when it gets back here, but I have all of you on board and I have myself on board. And I have a bad feeling. I don't trust this plane to make it to Honolulu. And I don't want to be halfway over the Pacific. So I apologize. I don't know if they have another plane for you. That's not my responsibility. I'm going to taxi back and you're going to get off and you can talk to the ticket agents." And I was listening to this and I thought, everyone's going to boo him. But on the tape, you hear all the families shouting to celebrate him. Yay, because they got it. Even though they had their hotels waiting for them and food waiting for them and beds waiting for them on the other side of that ocean, they respected that he did not feel right about it, and he put his job on the line, he put his reputation on the line, and he got those people on a safe plane that he felt good about. So we need a president who will make those type of decisions. That's what I would like. I would like a pilot who puts my safety first, as opposed to what you're talking about, which are yes men that will just go along with whatever they're told, and somebody who's competent enough to know when there's danger.
All right. Well, I mean, and I have seen none of that demonstrated in the people who are saying that they are doing this for the loyalty
Right.
and
Well,
not
they're
for, I mean,
right.
the only thing that stopped us from having the constitutional crisis were the attorneys who sat in the office, in the Oval Office, and said and told Donald Trump, if you put Jeffrey Clark in as the Attorney General, so that he goes in and says that there is going to be that there are going to be that there are all kinds of irregularities that he's going to be investigating. If you put him in as Attorney General, we are going to have we're going to have a mass resignation.
Mm-hmm.
That's the only thing that stopped the constitutional crisis, were those 5 attorneys, or however many that there were, that en masse said, and that's what made him back off. It was already on. If you look in the presidential daily briefing, it was already there that Jeffrey Clark was the new Attorney General designate, the acting Attorney General. They'd already been put in there, but that's what stopped it. That's what actually stopped us from having that constitutional crisis of then them turning it into the House of Representatives, so that the
Mm-hmm.
House of Representatives would go ahead and throw and say, no, we're not going to certify the election.
But again, how many voters are aware of these details? And that's what we keep getting back to, is that most Americans are not spending that time. They may not
No.
even have that time. And so the debates are there to sort of give someone a flashpoint view. And that's why people do so much with character. They're just doing impressions. They're not, you know what I mean? It's like some guy has an impression when they're scrolling through their news feed, and they will vote on those impressions.
Well,
I
it will
don't,
be
and you don't, but
no, but it
others
will be
do.
interesting. But the one thing I think we can count on,
Hmm.
Renee, is that there will be surprises that we cannot. Some things are going to happen that we cannot know are going to come up, just like during 2016, there's no way that we could have seen the Hollywood tape coming.
Hmm.
So there'll be some things that are going to
Something is
happen.
going to be happening closer to this election, and we're
We
going to
don't know.
stay tuned,
They call
and
it
we'll
the
be here to
October
keep talking
surprise,
about it.
right?
Yeah, we're going to keep. What'd you say? What's the last thing you said?
They call it the October surprise. That's
October surprise, right? So we're a couple months away. We're just a few months away from the October surprise. Count on it. Set your watches. It's going to happen, and then we'll come back and we'll dissect it live on air, no doubt. And so, thank you so much, Dennis, for weighing in and getting this election hangover, getting us through this. And thank you, everyone who's watching and on the replay. And we will be back. And when we come back, Dennis and I, on our next program, we are going to do a little bit of a debate, and it's going to be very fun. So everybody check it out.
Well, thank you, Renee. As always, it's a pleasure, and just like I told you, and I want to give anyone who is watching this, if you have Paramount Plus, I want you to do 2 things. New documentary on. Excuse me 1 second. I'm going to do what I wanted Joe Biden to do. I have to cough.
Okay.
Thank you. Now, go to Paramount Plus.
Cyndi
There is a
Lauper.
documentary on Cyndi Lauper's life called Let the Canary Sing. And then when you see it, think of Renee Yaworsky, because these are 2 icons that I
Thank you.
admire, and 2 people who are living the life of an artist, of integrity, of compassion, of interest, of engagement, And that's what I want you to see. So think about Renee, and God, if you talk with Renee in the next few days, because you're going to watch it, right? You haven't seen it,
I'm
right?
watching it tonight for sure. I
Right.
love Cyndi
When
Lauper.
you're going to see it, and I'll bet you're going to be talking like her for the next week. You know, you
I'm
won't be
very
able to
certain that
stop.
during the 80s, I'm very certain that during the 80s and the early 90s, I did talk like her. I think a lot of people, I did, because I was raised alongside her, and she's very great and campy and just a wonderful. And of course, she's in the news again because she came into Congress. People are seeing her more recently. She came in and she's very active in politics. So she is not about to slow down anytime soon, or at least we hope not. So, okay.
We, you should say, we are not about to slow down.
We are not about, nobody is about to slow down.
That's right. Not you and she, because that's what I want you to do. I want you to just see the reflection of so much of what I see in you and so many people see in you when you watch this Let the Canary Sing, brand new on Paramount Plus, and you will see what I see and so many others who know and love you about you, why we know and love you, why we love you, and why we admire you is because these are the qualities that I see in her that she does in her own unique way are the qualities that I see in you that you do in
What are
your
some of those qualities? That's the sneak peek. What are some of those qualities?
just I'm going to make my own path.
Mhm.
I'm going to work toward my artistic integrity. I'm going to find I'm going to find my way. I'm going to deal with heartbreak, and I'm going to see it. I'm going to see it in I'm going to take my path through this and not allow the world to tell me the way I should be. Instead of that, I'm going to work through that, and I'm going to work through that. Or I'm going to work through that my own artistic integrity to be able to see that, and that's what I see in you.
Thank you. And you know what? After I've watched it, and after some of our fans have watched it, maybe we'll do a quick R&D cafe about that sometime.
I would
You know,
love to. I
if
would
enough
really
people
love
watch
to.
it.
I would love to do an R&D cafe. So if you can get some B-roll from that and be able to have that as you're doing, okay?
Okay, and Dennis said, well, time after time, I do see your true colors shining through. Thank you, Dennis.
Thank
And
you,
that's in my
Dennis.
head
Thank
now.
you for joining us. What a lovely.
Bye,
All right, thank
everybody.
you, and
Bye.